In a world dominated by trillion-dollar tech giants and glitzy social media tycoons, one of the richest men in Europe made his billions with something far simpler: hazelnut spread. That man is Giovanni Ferrero, and the product that transformed his family into a global powerhouse is none other than Nutella. But the real story goes far deeper than jars of chocolatey sweetness. It's about legacy, secrecy, European tradition, and a man who transformed a local confectionery business into a 40 billion empire without ever seeking the spotlight. Born in 1964 in Italy, Giovanni Ferrero inherited not just a company but a legacy. A family enterprise started in 1946 by his grandfather Pietro Ferrero in the small town of Alba, Italy. Originally, the company created a chocolate and hazelnut paste called Gianduja as a way to make affordable treats when cocoa was scarce during wartime. By the time Giovanni's father, Michele Ferrero, took over, he refined the formula into what the world now knows as Nutella, which launched in 1964. The same year Giovanni was born. It was more than a sweet spread, it was the foundation of a global brand. Giovanni Ferrero grew up immersed in this world of chocolate innovation. But unlike most heirs to massive fortunes, he didn't just sit back and enjoy the ride. He studied abroad, sharpened his business skills in the US and Belgium, and when it came time, he returned to the family business not just to uphold tradition, but to expand and modernize it. In 1997, he and his brother Pietro Jeter took over operational leadership of Ferrero Group. Together, they continued the family's conservative, secretive approach while quietly scaling the company globally. But tragedy struck in 2011 when Pietro Jeter died suddenly of a heart attack while cycling in South Africa. It was a moment of deep loss for the Ferrero family, and a defining moment for Giovanni. From that point forward, he became the sole heir and executive in charge of one of the world's most beloved and secretive confectionery empires, and he took that responsibility seriously. At the time, Ferrero was already a force in Europe, known for Nutella, Kinder, Tic Tac, and Ferrero Rocher. But Giovanni had bigger plans. Under his leadership, Ferrero would no longer just be an Italian brand, it would become a global snack empire. He began an aggressive, but carefully calculated expansion into new markets, particularly the US, which until then had remained elusive for the company. It was a quiet revolution executed with precision. One of Giovanni's most transformative moves came in 2018 when Ferrero acquired Nestle's entire US candy business for $2.8 billion. This gave the company control over iconic American brands like Butterfinger, Baby Ruth, and Crunch, instantly making Ferrero the third largest chocolate company in the US. This was more than a business move. It was a signal. Ferrero was no longer just a European sweets maker. It was now a global powerhouse capable of taking on giants like Mars and Hershey. What makes Giovanni Ferrero's strategy unique is his blend of tradition and ambition. While expanding globally, he has fiercely guarded the family's legacy. The company remains privately held, shunning the idea of public markets. He has kept operations extremely secretive, no glossy investor calls, no media showcases. Ferrero factories are among the most tightly controlled in the food industry, and the recipes for their products, especially Nutella, are locked behind a culture of obsession with quality and security. Even the company's structure reflects his philosophy. Giovanni Ferrero stepped down as CEO in 2017, appointing Lapo Civiletti, the company's first non-family chief executive. But he remains executive chairman, making the big decisions and guiding the company's future. This move allowed him to delegate daily management while still retaining strategic control, a classic billionaire maneuver that lets him focus on long-term vision, innovation, and global positioning. So how big is the Ferrero empire today? As of 2025, the group generates over $16 billion in annual revenue, operates in over 170 countries, and employs tens of thousands of workers worldwide. But beyond the numbers, it's the strength of the brand portfolio that makes Ferrero an unstoppable force. Nutella alone is a phenomenon, consumed in almost every corner of the globe. Every year, the world eats more than 365,000 tons of Nutella. That's enough to circle the earth if you spread it on toast. It's that iconic. And yet, for all the cultural power and financial success of his brand, Giovanni Ferrero remains largely invisible. He doesn't post on social media. He rarely gives interviews. There are barely any public photos of him at events. Unlike other billionaires who chase cameras, Ferrero embodies a European old-school ethos: let the product be the star, not the person behind it. This anonymity is part of what makes his story so compelling and so effective in building trust with consumers. But let's not mistake his low profile for lack of ambition. Giovanni Ferrero has invested heavily in innovation. He's overseen the opening of R&D centers around the world, developing new product lines, including Nutella biscuits, Kinder Joy, and new chocolate lines aimed at health-conscious consumers. He's expanded the company into ice cream, acquired bakeries, and even entered the cafe space with Nutella, branded restaurants, and pop-ups in select global cities. Perhaps one of the most symbolic moments of Ferrero's recent history came when Giovanni launched a massive renovation and expansion of the company's original factory in Alba. The $150 million investment didn't just update the facility, it honored the company's roots. Workers there say that despite being a billionaire, Ferrero still walks the floors during visits, engaging with employees and insisting on maintaining the culture of discipline and humility that his father instilled. This commitment to company culture is part of the secret sauce. Ferrero isn't just making candy. It's making nostalgia, trust, and emotional connection. And that's why people keep buying. While competitors struggle with changing health standards, ingredient controversies, or public backlash, Ferrero's brands consistently rank high in trust, quality, and customer satisfaction. That's not by accident. It's the result of obsessive control, consistent messaging, and generational strategy. Giovanni Ferrero's personal net worth is now estimated at over $40 billion, making him one of Europe's richest men and the richest in Italy. But he doesn't flaunt it. There are no reports of mega yachts, no supercar fleets, no 200 million mansions in LA. He reportedly lives in Brussels, close to his company's international operations, in a modest but secure estate. His life is one of control, not chaos, vision, not vanity. This contrast between immense wealth and deep restraint is a central part of Giovanni Ferrero's legacy. In a time when most billionaire entrepreneurs seem to live on Twitter and speak in headlines, Ferrero has quietly conquered the global snack market with almost no public attention. His empire is sweet, but his strategy is surgical. His philosophy also extends to the next generation. Though the Ferrero family remains involved in company ownership, Giovanni has taken steps to professionalize management while still holding key decisions within the family orbit. His children are said to be involved, but in low-profile roles. If succession is on the horizon, it will likely happen with the same subtlety and planning that defines every other move he's made. So what's next for Giovanni Ferrero? Industry insiders believe he has his eyes on Asia and Latin America for future growth. The company is already making moves in India and China, and with rising middle classes in emerging markets, the demand for trusted, high-quality snacks is only growing. In addition, Ferrero is increasingly investing in sustainability, reducing its environmental footprint, sourcing more responsibly, and adjusting packaging to meet regulatory and consumer expectations in developed markets. It's a reminder that even billion-dollar empires built on sugar and hazelnuts must evolve. But if history is any guide, Giovanni Ferrero will do it his way, quietly, precisely, and on his own terms. He has taken a family business rooted in post-war scarcity and transformed it into one of the most trusted consumer brands on earth. He's avoided scandal, outlasted competitors, and created a model of private business success that flies in the face of the attention-hungry age we live in. This is not just the story of Nutella. It's the story of a man who turned sweetness into strategy and confection into an empire, and he did it without ever needing to shout. That's how Giovanni Ferrero turned Nutella into billions.